Hello, this is Deborah Yao with Black Education TV. I'm doing a follow-up on the family in Maryland as promised. I think it's very important that we stay on top of this particular story because our family is in need of our prayer and support. I consider our people to be family, and I know all of us don't think that way, but I do. As I've looked at this story and I've been following some of their videos and hearing some of the things that they are going through and experiencing. And, you know, even after the sentencing of the husband, I believe he's gotten 13 to 15 years on his sentencing, and his wife is scheduled to be sentenced on April 9th. I believe that's the date. But anyway, as I followed this, I feel my heart feels very heavy for them, as do many of you who I've seen speaking out in support of them. I mean, there's been a lot of support I've seen across the internet, social media, YouTube, Facebook, and rightfully so. But on the flip side of that, I've seen something else that to me is very disturbing and something that I just don't like, which further proves that we as a people have some serious issues that we need to work our way through. On Facebook, I have seen individuals who call themselves Hebrew Israelites, who have been sharing these articles in support of the court system against this family. One young lady was actually sharing I believe the Cecil Wig article that the brother was referring to, where they were claiming that they were starving their children. Now, just because you have a mainstream media source reporting on something doesn't make it right or true. This man has shown video evidence and proof of how healthy his family was. The particular child that they were referring to was a small child, and looked very healthy, chunky cheeks, happy, smiling. She was eating a bowl of oatmeal with nuts and apples in it, and she looks like a very happy child. But as I stated in one of my other videos, they do not follow their own rules and have declared that the child was vitamin D deficient. Now, if they were to be fair across the board and take children based on being vitamin D deficient, shouldn't you also take children that are melanin deficient from their parents? Wouldn't that mean that Gentile children need to be taken from their parents for not having melanin? This is something, the vitamin D thing is something that a lot of Americans, not just Black Americans, but a lot of Americans don't have a certain amount of vitamin D. This is because they expect everyone to be the same. Not everyone is the same. If the child is not affected by it in any way, and they are still healthy and they're still eating a healthy diet, in which I'm still trying to figure out, when did oatmeal, organic oatmeal and apples and nuts become an unhealthy meal? I'm still trying to figure that out. But the issue that I'm looking at right now, and the reason why I wanted to do this video, is because our people are so quick to jump on the bandwagon with our enemies. And for this sister and a few others to be on Facebook spreading information to basically show their support for the court systems and believing that this family was starving their children, which they've had proof that that's not happening. They show evidence of how happy their family was and other people who have lived with him and was able to vouch for them. I'm telling you, what is wrong with our people? This is why we cannot forge ahead, because we are too much in support of those who hate all of us. Because they say it, we believe it. We've been lied to for centuries, but we use and treat their word as if it is gospel. And so for our people to be on the internet, on Facebook and other social media, spreading lies about these people, spreading articles talking about they've abused their children and neglected to feed them properly. And you have other people saying, "Oh, thank you for sharing the article. I'm gonna read that, sis. Thanks for sharing this. I'm so happy you informed us of this." The brother already talked about it. We as a people, this is just written text that they have conjured up against this family. They had video and picture proof that their children were healthy and happy. But you're going to take some article that they've typed up and spread on the internet, and that's what you're going to use as your proof. You're going to help them to railroad this family because you have no loyalty to your people or to the Most High or to truth. With Israelites like that, with black folk like that, you don't need no cotton picking enemies. If we have our peoples helping to support that kind of foolishness, you don't need enemies because you got them right there in the black community. It kind of reminds me of how, there's a few documentaries we've seen where Europeans would draft these pieces of paper. That they would get these typewriters. Back in the day before computers and all of this other stuff, they had typewriters. They would get a typewriter and they would just draft a piece of paper out of thin air, declaring that they were the owners of whole islands and whole countries. And they would just take this piece of paper that they've drafted out of thin air, and they would go and show it to the villagers or whatever population was in a particular region and say, this piece of paper says that we own this land. And the villagers are looking like, what the heck are you talking about? And they would be like, well, we own this land. This piece of paper says so. Because they drafted it out. And when the people would refuse to move, they would do things like kill their animals in front of them, their pets, cut their heads off, dismember the bodies and say, if you don't leave, this is going to be what we do to you. This is the same fate that's going to befall you. And so for our people today to just look at a piece of paper that's been drafted by these same people or an article that's been typed out by these same people, this piece of paper or this article proves that these people were abusing their children. And for our people with the bobblehead syndrome, yes, Massa said that they were abusing their children. And so I'm going to help them spread this article to get the word out there. I know that they have video evidence of the contrary. I know that the family shows that they were a loving family, feeding their children, teaching their children, and all this other good stuff. But Massa put this article out here that proves otherwise. So I'm going to help the system to railroad this family because this article was very compelling. Like I said, with black folk like that, you don't need no cotton picking enemies. This is why during slavery, you would have those, I don't know what to call them. I don't know if it was the field Negroes or the house Negroes running to Massa to tell them that somebody was trying to break free. Which one was it? Was it all of them? I don't know which one it was. It's getting to the point in this day and time, you can't trust nobody. I was so very disappointed when I saw the people sharing this. And one brother came on. He said, look, I know these people. And he says, this is breaking my heart to see you Israelites sharing this garbage. Sharing this garbage because it's something that the system has put out against these people. He says, I know them. And you are sharing something that is not true. You are part of the problem. And I felt that brother's pain, even though I don't know this family personally. Sometimes you can look at the handwriting on the wall. Sometimes you can read between the lines. Sometimes you can look for yourself and think for yourself and see that something is not right. This is something that has always taken place to where the rules go against us. They use their own laws against us. But for our own people to sit in support of them and to spread these lies, I understand and understood how that brother felt, the brother who knew them. And then you had other people sharing things saying that they were seeking sovereignty, and this is why the judgment of the Most High came on them. So since when does seeking sovereignty warrant the judgment of the Most High? You see how ignorant our people have become? Did you not know that sovereignty is a legal process that is afforded to people by the United States? Now, I'm not saying that we should seek that. I'm not saying that everyone should go after that, but that is a legal process that they have put in place in which they have allowed so many white people to take advantage of. But now it's being demonized for others who want to take. So a lot of people are afraid to seek after it. And so I saw some other false information that people were putting out saying that they were a part of some group in which the brother said they weren't a part of any group that was encouraging people to do anything. Because if they sought their sovereignty, did not they have a legal right to do so? Like I said, that is not for everyone. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure it's something you should seek after with the way they come after you. They use their system against you. The Most High said in Scripture, this is what I'm going to say about the sovereignty thing. The Most High said in Scripture that he was going to be the one to free us. So that being said, I still don't believe you should be demonized or punished for it if you do go after it. And for you to see brothers and sisters spreading information saying that Yah has brought judgment on them because of that, that again shows that our people are unstable in their thinking and that they uphold a system that is against us. With brothers and sisters like that, you don't need no cotton-picking enemies. Now, I know the videos that I've shared, the past few videos that I've shared, have been a far cry different than what I've been sharing in recent times. I had toned things down a bit. At the land, as I walk, I would, I would feel a sense of closeness to the Most High to where, and I still feel that, but I'm trying to get our people to understand that we need to draw nigh to Yah. And so I was focusing more on that and becoming stronger and being able to fight spiritual battles and fight demons and do all this other stuff that we need to do that we tend to ignore because we're so into who we are as a people. We're so into this flesh part of us, but we're not tending to the spirit part. But then, and coming back to the reality of some of the things that are taking place in and around our world, I know these videos may be a lot more energetic than those that you have been hearing for the past few months, but rightfully so. There are some things that are taking place in and around this world, some things that need tending to. And there are issues at hand that need to be discussed. And this whole thing about the Hebrew Israelites, in which many of you have shared stories with me, recent news stories of how these Israelite men are killing their wives or their concubines or other women they're dealing with and hurting other people. These things have sparked many of us to disassociate ourselves with that nonsense and that foolishness. And on the flip side of that, it has caused anger with those of you who are so strong on tradition because you're so used to that title, you're angry at us. But like I said before, I believe this family in Maryland, guilt by association, some of the things that they have been accused of have been directly related to them calling themselves Black Hebrew Israelites. Those are one of the things that were thrown up in their face. And as I close out this video, I just want to reiterate for our people who are just so unable to think for yourself, so unable to have critical thinking and logical thinking, for you to spread this information about this family and you don't know what the hell is going on. I think that is very destructive behavior for us to have as a people. You don't know what these people are going through. Like I said in the video of some of the things that we were going through where we were being threatened by local militias and all these things. I mean, we even had a police officer who gave us some very helpful information. In the area that our land is in, he gave us some very helpful information. The police officer said, and he noted, he said, it looks like you all might be prepping a little bit. He says, I prep too. This is what the officer said. And he said he preps for a different reason, but he does it. And he says, he said, if I were you all, based on the things that have been happening, I would arm myself. You all should arm yourself to protect your family. This is what the officer said to us. Because he knows and he can sense that we are peaceful people, that we are kind people. He even said something about the way we speak. He said, based on the way you speak, I could tell that you're not what people are claiming. This is what a white police officer said to us. And his advice to us was to arm ourselves to protect our families. He says, I'm armed to protect my family, and I would suggest you do the same. And so this is what we are up against. But then when you have your own people who are doing the exact opposite with brothers and sisters like that, you don't need enemies. We are in a very strange time, people. Very strange, to where enemies come in black and white. And this is why many of us are making our circle smaller and smaller. I still love my people. I still want to reach my people. I still want to meet many of you. But please don't be offended if we are a little hesitant. A little hesitant, because people will change on you overnight. And you'll be saying to yourself, what the heck just happened here? All of this nonsense that is happening in the world, we seem to be the only people who are hell-bent on being against each other and fighting against each other and supporting a system that is against all of us. Against all of us. We seem to be the only people who are into that. We can't get it together. We can't agree on anything. We're so jealous of each other. It's sickening. So jealous, it is sickening. What is our problem? I am sending out these admonitions because it's important that we get a grip on our minds, people. We don't know what we're up against. We think everything is fun and games, but trouble can darken your doorstep at any time. When we were going through some of the things on the land, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. Like I mentioned in the last video where the children came running, they were over by the pond, and they came running and said, Mommy, there's a man over here by the pond. He wasn't on our property, but he was on the property next door to us, right there at the dividing line, just standing there watching the children. And when I saw them all running, and they said this, and none of the brothers were on the property at the time, I said, I'm taking myself over here and I'm going to see what the heck's going on. You over here watching the children. Of course, he tried to pretend like he was dealing with some wood or something over there. And then he stood there just looking. And so I went over there and I said, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to look at you. You got my children running over here. They're over by the pond trying to enjoy themselves. And you standing your behind over here just watching. And so I stood and I watched him. And I already know some brothers think that I was out of bounds for doing that. But if I'm the only one around at that moment, I'm going to do what I have to do for my babies and for the other children that were there too. I'm going to do what I have to do. We as a people, our men, women, and children need to learn how to protect ourselves because we have some very real enemies and they come in black and white. So this, I hope, will be a wake-up call for all of us that you have to watch your circle, watch who is in that circle. You have to watch your own people. We already know what outsiders are all about. They've already shown themselves as people who can't be trusted and enemies of that and things of that nature. But we also have to watch our own people. It's a shame when you can't count on your friendships and your support and your love and your union with your own people, because they are helping Massa to spread his information, vilifying this Maryland family who are already knee deep in trouble, going through something very devastating for their family. And you want to take the knife and dig it in deeper by helping them to spread these articles because you have no sense of family or unity with your own people. Probably didn't even watch their videos to see their proof that they showed But you were so willing and quick to share the information and the articles written by these people. That is so disheartening. And it is so pathetic. Any of you who have taken part in that, you are pathetic. Yes, that is what I said. Do you know that you are doing more harm than good to this family? And for those who know them to have to come out and say, why would you do this? You don't even know them. These people know them. You have people who do know them and who have stood up and vouched for them, even on social media, and said that the things that they're being accused of are not true. But you got people on the outside looking in with their Hebrew Israelite garments on and their hair covered and their fringes on, helping the enemy to spread information. Shame on you.